Hi, good afternoon everyone. You might be wondering what's going on. It's not Tuesday, not time for the developer multiplayer session, and it's not World War Wednesday. Well, it's Thursday today, and thought we'd show off some Europa Universalis 4, a bit of a tutorial introduction of the game. I'm DDR Jake, you might recognise the voice from doing the Europa multiplayers and World War Wednesday.
And I'm cKnoor, and I'm the new streaming producer, and I'm the one forcing Jake to do even more streams.
Yeah, so you're a relatively new addition to the Paradox family.
I am. I've been here 3 weeks now.
Yeah, and you have quite a few questions about Europa Universalis.
Yeah, I mean, because, of course, as the streaming producer, I see a lot of Europa Universalis during the multiplayer dev stream, and you host that very well. Unfortunately, half of the time, for example, last Tuesday, when everyone was like, why is Daniel so pissed off? Or, well, everyone wasn't like that. I was like that, because I'm like, something's happened here.
So here I am. I'm going to show cKnoor the ropes here of the game, but I figured, hey, we'll let you in on that as well. So you're going to be on the Twitch chat.
Yeah, I've got that right here, so I'm going to be looking into the void for a bit and trying to control everything.
Yeah, if you have any questions, be sure to put them there, and I'm sure you'll have plenty questions of your own.
That's the plan.
So let's bring the game up, and we'll have a bit of an introduction about the game. So this here is Europa Universalis 4, grand strategy game by Paradox Interactive. And wow, it's huge, it is vast. Well, bit of an elevator explanation here. You can pick any nation in the world from between 1444 all the way up to 1820 and do with them as you please. So you can play the great nation of France down to the tiniest, most insignificant of countries. So you pick them and you manifest your own destiny, and if you want to be that through great military victories, conquering loads of lands, or sailing the high seas, getting your trade groove on the go, or exploring new lands and colonizing them, the choice is yours. So today we're going to go with Castile. It's a pretty good jack-of-all-trades nation, and let's just hit that go button.
Yeah, so the way I understand it, this is... I'm used to turn-based stuff, this isn't turn-based, but there are different speeds, right?
That's right. So it's pausable, and you can change the speed of the game as you go. So maybe something comes up and you need to start making your master plan. That is when you hit that pause button and you start scheming it up. And you can choose, there are 5 different speed settings depending on how gung-ho you want to go.
And that's also, I mean, in the multiplayer streams that the devs are doing, of course, we're not pausing at any point.
That's right. We play at a constant speed 3 during the development multiplayer games. So here we go. Lots of information. It might be taking you back a bit. We'll be explaining things as we go along, but a lot of your important information is right here at the top. You'll get alerts if anything important is coming up. We have a few of those. And very important to you is the amount of money you have and the manpower that you have coming in. So you'll need money to fund your army, and you'll need warm bodies to flesh them out, because nobody's going to take a state seriously unless they have the arms to back it up. And in addition, you have some extra things: the stability of your realm, your prestige, how well you are seen by other nations, legitimacy, how well your own subjects see you on that throne, and some power projection which you can gain by smashing down rivals of yours. So here we are Castile. It's back in 1444, there is no Spain, but this is the Iberian region, and there are 5 players here. There is Portugal, and they're a good friend of ours as Castile. I don't think we want to be stepping any of our boots into their land. We have the remnants of the Moors down south. Here is Granada. It is the last jewel of Al-Andalus inside the Iberian region, and I've switched the map mode over to religious to show off the fact that there is a lot of Catholicism going on here. In fact, that's true across pretty much all of Europe there.
So why is that important?
Well, religion back in this day didn't have quite the same meaning as we have it today. You know, religion, now you can throw it around, but here religion is the driving force. Religion is what cast all these Muslims out of Iberia, and there are still some hanging on. So we are Catholic and they are Sunni. So there's a great amount of rivalry and friction between our nations because of the different views we have. But even if we were to take their lands, these provinces, and the whole map is split up into these provinces. Here we have Gibraltar, Granada, and Maria. I'm probably going to be butchering these names. That is a common theme whenever a lot of us play this game. So even if I were to take these provinces inside, the people there are still Sunni. So I would either have to tolerate them, grant them certain autonomies so they stop rising up against me, or, you know, take it by fire and sword and root out the Sunnis in the name of God and spread Catholicism. As we all know, Catholicism is going to have its own breakup later on within the years, but we are back in 1444, and everything is pretty united. So here we have, on the map, we control everything within our country here, which is all these yellow provinces. All these yellow provinces are owned by Castile, and you can click on any province to check out more information about it. Each province will grant us money that comes in through taxes and production, and it'll also give us manpower, which is very important, as I said, keeping that army alive. We'll touch more on that as time comes on, but one important province worth checking out for us in particular is La Mancha. This is our gold mine. So
I see.
yeah, we want the money from there. It's a pretty important province for us. So that about covers a very basic rundown of internally our country here. But I mean, the world is full of countries. These are all AIs. There's no human players taking part in these since we're playing single player. It's obviously a different story when we're playing in those dev sessions that you've seen. So we have to conduct diplomacy with them. This is really what makes it a grand strategy. We'll control everything inside of our country and our attitudes and foreign policies towards other countries. So getting down to it, we have these 5 nations here in Iberia. We've got Portugal, Granada, Aragon and Navarra. Now they're our immediate neighbours really, and we're going to have to establish diplomacy with all of them. Now when it comes to Portugal, they are very friendly towards us. Now I right-clicked on them to bring up everything we need to know about Portugal. For example, they're allied with England. Now, I would never trust the British in the dark, but we have to bear in mind that Portugal are allied to England, and an alliance is very military. So if they go to war, they can bring in England, and if they are attacked, England will be obliged to defend them.
Yeah.
They could give up that obligation, but there are consequences to such things. I mean, when we had the developer multiplayers, there have been people that just go, I'm having nothing to do with this war. Well, they have some short-term benefits from that, but also they get seen as a bit of a traitor. So we like Portugal. In fact, we're probably going to want to seek an alliance with them. We have the Granadans to the south, and we hate them. We want them gone. This is meant to be our turf. And one thing is, this game will allow us missions. So this may be Granada right here, but we can't declare war on them right away. We need cause for war.
Yeah.
That would be Casus Belli. Well, fortunately we are playing as Castile. If we flip over here, we have certain missions. And one of ours is to finish the Reconquista. And if we decide on that, in fact we can give it a little read. As long as there is still a city in Hispania ruled by the infidels, we cannot stop our holy mission. We need to liberate the entire peninsula from the Moors. So if we take that, and why wouldn't we, we're going to get cause to attack the Granadans. So there will be war between our nations later on.
But are these these missions, are they preset at the time you're starting, or can you make your own?
As your nation evolves, there'll be different missions available to you. For example, somebody of your religion is being harassed over here, go and free them.
Yeah.
You know, so you get a conquest casus belli to take that province back, or maybe they're more economical, like generate enough money, and they'll give rewards accordingly. The missions there, you can take them or dismiss them at your will. It's more of a just pushing you in the right direction if you really need that. So we have Aragon here, and if we right-click on them, we can see they really don't like us. If we check over here, they have an opinion of us, and it's far into the negative because they see us as a rival. So Aragon look to us and go, we want to be better than Castile. Probably means they're going to want to come to blow with us later on.
Those
so it's
bastards.
Exactly. It's not really worth trying to get on their good side. But then we have little old Navarra here. And what's quite interesting is we can see that they are led by King Juan II Trastamara. That's important because we are also led by the same dynasty there. And I think we can be good friends with Navarre. We might even be besties. So you have all these different options for diplomacy with people. And ranges from alliances, offering vassalization, We can guarantee them, we can warn them, so we can guarantee them so they'll be safe from other people, but also warn them against expansion from others. But I want to have a good relationship with Navarra. You know, it's family, so let's do that. Let's increase our relations with them.
And now when you're doing these kinds of stuff, like improving relations with Navarra, what does it cost you in terms of resources? Because I assume nothing here is free.
That's a good point indeed. We have envoys here at the top, and from left to right we have our merchants, we have colonists. We don't have any at the moment because nobody's even come up with a bright idea of going to India. Not yet, at least. And what we just spent was one of our diplomats. Now we have 3 diplomatic envoys, so one of them is currently in Navarra, improving relations. So he's probably bringing them flowers and telling the king how amazing he is.
Very pretty today.
Oh, yes. Yes, oh, thank you. And we also have 2 missionaries. Now, our land is all completely Catholic. We don't need to put them to work. But if we end up with heretics or heathens inside our land, we're going to need to drive them out. And again, to you in chat, if any of you have any questions about the game, just bring them in. You know, I'm happy to answer any.
So far, we also have Bjorn, of course, our community manager, in chat. Some people are wondering, when's this going to be on YouTube? Probably tomorrow. If you're seeing this on YouTube already, it's here. You don't have to worry about it.
Yes, hello, future.
Alien Eel wants to know what difficulty we're playing.
We're just playing on normal difficulty. You can set it to easy if you want bonuses, like your provinces will be less likely to rise up against you. And if you set it to hard mode, then all the AIs in the world will have bonuses, so you'll find you go to war with them and they're able to field a lot more troops than you'd really imagined.
So it's mostly, if you're changing the difficulty, you're basically changing the bonuses.
Yes.
Easier difficulty, you get more bonuses. Harder difficulty, the AI gets more bonuses.
Right. That's right. So I think we're pretty safe to unpause at the moment. Now we have our Casus Belli on Granada, but we won't be striking them just yet. Now I mentioned I wanted an alliance with Portugal, and there we go. They've offered us an alliance because we really like each other, and there we go. We're going to accept that. Now we get to see what they can see, and all of this green land is Portugal's. I can click on their provinces, I can see what they're getting by income, how much manpower they are coming in from each of their provinces, but I'm not interested in taking those myself. They also want to make some royal babies. They've offered us a royal marriage, and, well, who am I to deny that?
No, I think we'll definitely do that.
We want to have a good relationship with Portugal. That's important for us. We're not so happy with England here. They're actually privateering around us, which is a good point to bring up trade, since trade is a very, very important part of making loads of money, especially for us over here in Iberia. There are loads of different map modes in the game because you can check almost all the information in provinces just by clicking on them, but there is quite a lot of information there. So just like how I clicked on religion map mode to show off all the religions there are, I can click on the trade map mode to show off the different trade nodes that there are. Now, how trade works is that each province produces a good, and that good is then put into the trade node. So, for example, we have the Safi trade node here. All the goods put in, generated in these provinces are put into the Safi node. So let's grab this province, for example. It produces copper, and it produces 1.8 ducats worth of copper. Well, that goes into this trade node, and then nations that collect in that trade node will make money off of that trade. But there are other people that can push the trade into their node. So, for example, we're over in Sevilla. We want all the goodies in Sevilla so that our merchants can profiteer off of them. So, for example, a chunk of the money in Safi is being brought up into the Sevillan node, and we control 32% of it. So we're making 32% of all the money that comes here. Added in some bonuses, and we're making 3.39 ducats each month here. And yeah, more numbers for you, because lots of the stuff can be summarized over here. If we go and check out our economy, we make money from our taxes, our production, and our trade. And that's that trade money right there, those 3.39 ducats. All the currency in this game is done in ducats. That's very fitting for the time.
Does that mean, because you showed me the gold mine we had before, does the production or the ducats from that go into the Seville trade node?
Gold is special, and that's why I pointed out, because we directly get that money. It doesn't need to be traded around, and it's right here. So 2 ducats are coming in from gold. That's almost as all of our trade going on, so that's why it's lovely to know where your gold provinces are. So the trade system is quite deep and well worth investigation of its own, but I don't think that's quite what we're trying to cover in all of this. We will have a look at our armies here, though, because it's very important to march these guys around when it comes to war, and it will be when we try to expel the Moors here. So here's one of our armies, and let's see. It's made up of infantry and cavalry, so we've got 8 units of infantry and 3 of cavalry, and they're set into regiments of 1,000. So it represents 1,000 manpower worth of units.
And is that, are all regiments like that at the start, or can you have larger or small ones?
They'll all be 1,000,
Yeah.
but we can bring in like 20,000 infantry and 10,000 cavalry, however we want to do it. But it depends on your budget and how many warm bodies you have to send to the front line. So here we go. We have this army here, and we can march them around all we want. You know, you can go all over our country, but we need to keep a close eye on those Granadans to the south. So we'll get our army into position for that, and we'll let time march on as it does. Now, whilst we're talking about the top bar, we went over some of the things at the top, but these 3 numbers underneath it are very important. These are your power points, and they're generated over time and are very, very important for just about everything in the game. You need to advance technologically, and since part of our goal here is that we want to do our own Columbus and set sail for India, right? I'm sure we can find it if we head over to the west.
I've heard that's to the west somewhere.
Yeah, we should go and check it out. We are going to need our points here to get technology, and we're going to need to unlock the technologies that will allow us to sail into the vast unknown. Because when we zoom out, we'll see that we can't see all of the map. You and I know where China and America and South Africa are, but in 1445 Europe, they weren't quite so sure, you know.
Yeah, that's probably all of it, to be honest.
Yeah, if you just pointed them in the direction and said, go to Japan, please, they might have a bit of difficulty there. So that's why we need to unlock the technologies required to explore the area. And again, if you have any questions in the chat, just throw them in, because I am here to answer those.
No, QGet wants to know who's holding the mouse, and I think it's important to explain that you are the one controlling the game at the moment.
That's right.
Because otherwise this would take quite a lot longer with you going, click that thing, no, that thing. And I'm like, what?
We did have an original idea where you would have it, but...
And I think in the future, after some expert lessons, I will probably be playing and streaming this at a more, say, intermediate level rather than expert level, because I know that some people wanted that in chat. But all of that's in the future. Guys, I've been here for 3 weeks. Jeez.
Okay. What I've done is I've split up my army into 3 different armies. You can mold them as much as you want. You can select your units and faff them around as you have. All I've done is just set them up. As I have them here, nothing particularly special about them. I just wanted a bit of flexibility.
So, I mean, because when we got into an alliance with Portugal, we got to see all of their provinces. Now, we have armies on the border to Granada.
That's right.
Can they see them?
Yes, Granada can see all around their provinces. Like, they couldn't see into La Mancha or Toledo here, but they can see borders here. So Granada know that I've mounted up loads of troops on their border, so they know I'm coming for them. And that will be in time. Okay, so one big part of this game is that you will get events popping up from time to time. The events are semi-random. They are weighted depending on how things are going in your nation. If you have a particularly awful monarch, you might get events telling you that it's times of crisis or your government policies are poor. Conversely, if you're trading across the world, you might get merchant-related events. So, for example, we have one here, local traders demand aid. So the game can pause for you, you can let it run whilst the events are going, but we'll go through it because this is a great example event. So merchants and captains of trade vessels in Lyon have sent a representative to the government, describing their home as an increasingly lawless territory where piracy runs rampant and ships and ports are routinely raided. That doesn't sound very good.
No, it sounds horrible.
I don't know, but I'm a monarch, I'm a busy guy. Yeah. Why is he whining to me? In any case, he's talking about the province of Lyon. Here we go. Was it Lyon? Here we go. So he wants us to either send money to help them out, or tell them that they have to go and defend themselves. I'm a busy guy.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, you can't hold merchants by the hand.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but what type of merchants would you produce?
Exactly.
Shitty ones.
Yeah, so I'm not giving him the money. He wants 100 of my ducats. I'm not giving up 100 of my ducats. But this is the kind of trade-off you get with events. You'll get good ones and you'll get bad ones. Could be one where he wants to give us money or give us bonuses. So I'm going to take the other one. So what that has done is it's put a negative trait on Lyon here. And since we've refused to help the traders, there's now unrest in the province, and the amount of goods produced has gone down. So it's going to make us less money and be a bit more revolting. But I mean, I'm a busy guy. They'll just have to deal with that. We've got no problem with that going on. So we left that envoy over in Navarra, and he's increasing our relations there. I think we want to get an alliance on the go with Little Navarra.
So what's your with Navarra? Because it's a small place. What's your plan? Is your plan to just get really friendly with them and then possibly swallow them?
Well, that is part of what we're going for. I think we actually have a bit of a race with France going on here, but I'm trying to enter some good diplomatic relations with Navarra so that they will become our vassal. And one way, if you're not so sure your friends are really as friendly as they could be, what you can do is flatter them into becoming your vassal. It'll only work if they're a certain size, but I want them to be our vassal. I'm even sending them a little gift here, just to really speed it along. There we go. Now there are a few other things that we can do for our realm. There are some important things we haven't touched on yet. If we go over here to our government view here, one of the real important things about your country is your monarch. If you don't have a monarch and you're stuck in a regency council, you'll have a lot of limitations, and the skills of your monarch play very big into this game. So our monarch here is Juan II de Trastamara, again, probably butchering the name. And we've got some numbers here, 112, what can it mean? Well, when you have a monarch, they have a skill of 0 to 6 in each of the categories: administrative, diplomatic, and military.
Yeah.
And those feed directly into the PowerPoints that we have up here that I mentioned earlier. They're very important for technology, for ideas, all sorts of things.
But do they fill up on a yearly basis, or is it a monthly one?
Every month it takes
every
up.
month.
Lots of things change at the turn of the month. And since this is a game that goes on for over 350 years, you're going to get a lot of things ticking up. So these are going to tick up by 3 on their own, and then we can add 1 to that for our administrative skill from our monarch. We're a little scared of our heir because he's a flat-out 000. Enrique de Trastamara was not a popular ruler historically. And that's the thing, these are the historical rulers from the time. But to aid our somewhat feeble monarchs, we can hire advisors. So we could have a administrative, diplomatic, or military advisor to get these points up, because I cannot overstate the importance of these points for most things. So I'd quite like a diplomatic advisor. So Bernardo Pinzon? Oh my. He looks pretty good. He's going to cost us a reasonable fee, but we'll get him in there. We want these advisors because they're going to strengthen our realm and give us more of these points. So this man, for example, Carlos, he'll increase our tax income. He'll cost us a bit of money, but that seems well worth it. And we'll go same for the military.
Now, some of these seem to at least +1 and +2, but you've picked the +1s, right?
Yes, the +1s cost considerably less money per month. And although we have a good chunk of money, we want to keep it that way. We don't want to spend it all here. And in addition to giving us the points, they give little bonuses here. So reinforcement rate. If our armies get damaged in battle, which they will when we go to fight Granada, we'll be able to reinforce them a good bit better. So we'll get those on the go.
So does that mean that the like in the future, if we manage to produce even more ducats, would it then at some point be interesting to, let's say, upgrade the council, or do you prefer to stay at the +1?
Absolutely. If we're making loads of money, we have no reason not to get better ones, because we want the monarch points to really advance our technologies, get new ideas. So those little guys in Navarra that we were wooing, as we can see along here, they have a very high opinion of us, 199. It goes all the way up to 200. And since we've been wooing them with our diplomat, we have allied them, we've married them, we can actually offer vassalization, which is another one of the diplomatic ways you can expand. Now, we haven't even expanded by military yet, but don't be fooled into thinking that's the only way to expand here. through sheer diplomacy here, we're able to offer Navarra vassalization, and it tells you whether they will or will not and exactly why. So as we see here, we're married, they're allied, we have a good diplomatic reputation, we can do it, and boom, a herald from Navarra. Navarra has accepted the opportunity to become our vassal. So we get half their income, and they're going to fight for us. And later on, we might even want to integrate them into our realm. So there we go. Even before we've conquered anything, we've been able to diplomatically expand.
So Stream Chat are talking about excommunicating the heir or forcing him to join a monastery?
Ah, right. Sounds a little Crusader Kingy there, but
Yeah.
you're not too far off. As I mentioned earlier, we have a hilariously incompetent heir, Enrique de Trastamara. I don't really want him there, to be honest. But he is the rightful heir to the throne, but perhaps he could be encouraged to, I don't know, die? That would be kind of nice.
That would help.
So, looking back at our armies, it's not just the troops here, but also how they're commanded. They'll work fine as well without a general, but if they have a general, they'll certainly fight better, and even better depending on the general's stats. So we go to our largest army here. It is 13,000 large, and we'll click on the leader slot. We already have a leader, a very good one at that. They have different stats: fire, shock, maneuver, and siege. They help in various different parts of fighting and maneuvering. But we can also hire new generals, make our current ruler a general, or make our heir a general, provided they are male and of age. So Trastamara, I think he should give it a go. Come on, Enrique. So we make him a general, and there we go. He's alright at firing, and he's alright at maneuver. He's got no bonuses to shock or maneuver, but I think he'd make a fine leader for our armies.
Yeah.
Maybe he can charge face first into the walls of a fort. That would be pretty good of him.
Very glorious.
We're going to bring our diplomat back home since we've already wooed Navarra into being our vassal.
So since we have, what was it, 3 diplomat slots, but you only used 1 right there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could be using them as I see fit. So if we should take a stop and look at the diplomacy in Europe, because we have some big neighbours. We know that Aragon don't like us, but France are really the big bully of this time frame. And there's a reason that they got really strong and Napoleon ended up marching all over Europe. So France, for example, have rivaled us. Could be pretty bad since both them and Aragon have us as rivals, so we have to keep in mind these two could be coming for us later on. We have Portugal as a friend, but doesn't size up too well, especially if they brought in some friends. So we should look across to get some other people on our side. For example, there's the Pope. The Pope holds a lot of sway in this world, so I'm going to be improving relations with him. And Austria, you seem pretty big and strong.
No, so clearly, because this is at least in part based on history. I mean, if you're a history buff, you already know which powers would be really strong in this time in Europe. But if you don't know that, how do you figure out what powers in Europe are good friends to have, so to speak?
That's a good point, because from the moment you start the game is historically as accurate as we can get it within reason. So from the start, France is strong, England are strong and have their mainland territories, Austria rules the Holy Roman Empire, and the Papal State, he controls Catholicism. But after we hit that unpause button at the very start, all bets are off. There are certain things that weigh towards historical outcomes, but it's anyone's guess what will happen. For example, the Ottoman Empire here, big, powerful Muslim nation. They've already conquered a good chunk of the Balkans and Greece. And historically, they will go on to conquer all the Mamluks, make their way down through here, and poke all the way up into Central Europe. But that might not happen. They might collapse. And if we want to know who's strong, we'll have to go into their country, have a look. We'll be able to see, for example, if Austria has lost land later on, and then maybe see that they're on a bit of a decline. And if we check them out, maybe they're ruled by very incompetent rulers or behind in technologies. So we'll be able to see how people do as time goes on. But it's a pretty safe bet that France is going to be strong, and we know they hate us. So we should prepare for some counterbalance to that. So we're increasing relations with the Papal States and with Austria to try to get them as our friends. Now, people that are not our friends include the Grenadins. We actually have a truce with them until 1448. But as soon as that's over, we're going to go and destroy them. Again, another random event pops up, and these will keep happening throughout the game.
We appear to be, apparently, we're playing the Sabaton soundtrack, which we shouldn't be. So
that is true. So
we need to stop that, unfortunately. And we should lower the music a bit.
Okay, I can get on that.
Now, as I'm sure you know, a lot of people love the Sabaton soundtrack, but due to music rights and stuff like that, it's one of the ones we're not streaming. So, did you get that turned off?
Yeah, the Sabaton should be off.
Sweet.
There we go.
I'm sorry, everyone, but those are them's the dice. Unfortunately,
them's the breaks.
Yeah, that's how you say that.
So here we go. The Pope kind of likes us, and he's open to an alliance. So in the interest of getting ourselves some more friends, I think we should seek him out. They always said, treat the Pope like he has 50,000 men at his direct command, and that's what we'll be doing. And as for Austria, Austria is big and powerful already, so they might not want to be our friends. We can check over this and see how close we are to gaining an alliance. I think if we just keep wooing them with our diplomat, we should be A-okay on that front.
And is that something the AI then take into account when they're looking at, ooh, Castile seems juicy. Hang on, they've got friends in Austria and the Papal State.
Absolutely. So let's go over to Aragon, who we know is our rival. We're going to click on them and we're going to check out the diplomatic map mode. Now there are lots of map modes for just about anything you could want to see in this game. So if we check out the diplomatic map mode of Aragon, we can see that they have their own friends. They have Portugal as their friend, which is a little worrying, but that's okay. I'm sure Portugal will be on our side when it counts. And they also rule over Naples, so Naples will have to join them in any of their military expeditions. But what is more, we see these stripes on rightful Castilian land. Aragon is actually claiming our territory as their own, so that they have reason to go to war.
Yeah.
So when it comes to fighting, they'll be able to go, hold on, we have a rightful claim over Cuenca?
Cuenca? Let's say Cuenca.
I'll go with that. And they could well fight us for it. And they might even get France to join in. They say, come on, France, we're going to beat up your rival. Help us out here.
I think Christopher wants to know what a rival what does that actually mean in game terms?
Good point. And since we haven't set any of our own, we can bring that up. Now, we're going to rival France and Aragon, I think, since they've shown us the similar treatment. So we go to France, sorry, back to here. We can choose our rivals from this screen, and when you make somebody your rival, other nations will know that, and they might want to ally you in their own hopes to counterbalance their rivals. Similarly, it helps you fabricate claims on their territory, helps you do espionage against them. It also gives you extra bonuses if you go and fight them and defeat them.
So it's basically partly a way of telling the rest of the world that, hey, we don't like France.
Yes, exactly. So if we get other people that don't like France, and we can actually see who doesn't, it's ourselves, Burgundy, and England. So Burgundy, for example, they now want an alliance with us because, hey, you hate France, I hate France. We have so much in common.
Let's get together and talk. Have a bit of a chat.
Yeah.
Trash talk France.
Burgundy is currently in a war at the moment with Provence and Lorraine. I think they're going to do just fine, but it's a bit risky allying Burgundy.
Yeah, because we'd get dragged into that war, even if it's a small one.
That's right. We could say, whoa there, buddy, we're not going to help you in your war, but we're going to lose face if we do that, and our other allies won't take us so seriously. So one way of showing everybody what you want is if you right-click on your own nation, and you go to that diplomatic feedback right there. I can, for example, tell the world, I want these provinces. And what we've done is we said these provinces are of vital interest to us. So back off everyone else, and anybody that wants to help us, come on in. That can be important. You don't want to tell your allies, I want the provinces you want. Or even worse, I want your provinces directly. So here we are. It's been fairly peaceful for our Castile because we haven't had major threats working against us.
We have a quick question in stream chat. United Nations of Mars wants to know if there's a map mode where you can see what countries you have a truce with.
There is not one where you have a truce with at the moment, but if you play the game and you'd love to see that, we have a suggestions forum on the website where you can certainly request such things. There are map modes for lots and lots of different things,
That's
and
a lot of map
we'll be
modes.
going through these. Well, not all of them, but we're touching on different concepts
Yeah.
as we go along. So the truce that we had with Granada will be coming to an end quite soon, actually. So if we check out Granada, they've actually allied the powers of Tunis, which are these big guys over here. And I strongly believe that these guys are going to cause us a problem when they get involved. So that's where we're going to touch on our navy. So we have a navy docked here in Murcia. We haven't been putting them to use. We could have them doing little things for us, but we're just keeping them docked there for now. It's made up of heavy ships, light ships, and some transports. They're all going to be quite important to us later, but I'm going to want to build some extra ships for us. So you can go to coastal provinces of yours, select the little build ship icon, and you can get big ships. They're pretty expensive. You can get trading ships. They're not so good at fighting. Galleys, which excel at inland seas, such as the Mediterranean or the Baltic. And cogs, which are vital for transporting your troops. So I'm thinking couldn't hurt to have a couple more big ships. And maybe we'll get some galleys on the go as well.
And these all cost directly from our ducats that we have in
That's right.
There.
So we can actually check there. If we cancel it there, we'll get our money back. But we're at 362 ducats, spending it directly to get that ship built up there. And we can do the same for our armies. So we have a reasonable army here, but sometimes more is more.
More is more.
So we do the same thing. We can do it on ports or inland provinces, and we can just start recruiting some units. Bish bash bosh, and get some horses on the go as well. And if you don't want to do it like that, we have macro builders for most of the functions in the game. So if I want to do it quite a bit faster, I go, no, I want lots of dudes helping me out here. There we go. But this is all preparation for war, because Granada owns land that is rightfully ours. We've already told the whole world that we want it. It's just worth keeping an eye on the fact that they have Tunis as an ally of theirs. So again, we're getting events popping up, and these will come and go throughout the game. You just make the decisions based on what happens for you. We won't spend all day looking at each and every one of them. Since although I could play this game all day, we are on a timer here, are we not?
We are on a timer, but we do have a lot of time.
Excellent. So I just got a pop-up there informing me that the truce with Granada is over. I could ignore the truce and just attack them, but it would hurt our nation considerably, because we have a stability counter up here, and it can go up to negative or positive 3. And when it goes into negative, you're going to find quite a lot of unrest throughout your country, and that is not what we want. You can go into your stability screen and increase your stability, but that comes at the cost of your administrative power. Like I said, that power is useful for lots of things. So much so that I'm actually going to put a national focus on that. National focus will allow us to get more points of that in expense of the other two types of monarch points that we get. So here we go. We've got an army ready. We have Granada there. They are prime for the conquering. And
is
I
there
don't see why not?
Is there a reason we go directly into Granada rather than the other two regions which don't seem to have any troops in them?
Ah, well, good point, and we'll cover that when we do go to war. So we tell Granada we want to take over you. We have claims on all 3 of their provinces. We got it through the mission there. And we're just going to say, yeah, we're going to conquer Gibraltar. They're allied with Tunis, and Tunis will come and help them. We can see it there. It's a defensive war, so Tunis definitely want to help out their friend Granada. And our allies actually don't want to help us out. We haven't really built up a good relationship with them, and we're not even promising them territory either. So they're just like, nah, you're on your own. And fair enough. We can handle these guys. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go to war with those Granadans. And here we go. We are in a state of war. And as you see, their troops have turned red there. And we'll be ready to go and defeat them. So that Enrique de Trastamara that we put in charge of our armies, he's going to prove himself in battle at Granada. And we're going to move in our other units to flank them on the side. So they're going to be occupying these 2 provinces with a bit of luck. And our main stack is going to engage their main stack over in Granada. To the point where I'm actually going to pull out half of these guys and have them reinforce, just to make sure this battle goes our way. We can see there's going to be a battle over here, but Granada, we can even switch map modes over here. It's very mountainous terrain, so the defense will be on their side. Still, with our numbers, we should be able to win, no trouble here. So battle commences. Now we do outnumber them quite a bit, as we have a lot more resources to pool than they do. And checking on it here. Here's how the battle all looks. Their units are shown right here as a line. X is for infantry, single slash for their cavalry. But we have many more on our side, and basically your unit will attack whoever is opposite, and it can also flank from the sides as well. So we're not going into this huge battle where we can see every unit down there. It's all abstracted into these battles. Takes into account the terrain that we're in, the discipline we have, and the morale we have. And honestly, I could talk at length about the battle system that there is. But the thing is, there are some tools to help you out with that. In fact, we even have a Wikipedia which can help us out. I'm not sure if this is going to show up on the stream or not, but a lot of questions. Yeah, we can see it's coming up there. A lot of questions that you may have about in-depth mechanics are covered very well by the EU4 wiki, which is well worth having a gander into. So if you wanted to know more about the economy or warring and diplomacy, just check it out there. It's not at all because I'm lazy. No, sir. So actually these Grenadans are running away. We have forced them to retreat away, but they're not going to make it very far because we're going to chase them down. And Enrique de Trastamara is going to put them to sword. There we go. Now the Granadan army is vanquished. And we've occupied 2 of their provinces here. They were unfortified. But Granada is. Funny that Gibraltar would be known as the Rock when it is Granada that's going to take a wee while to take down. So there we go. We're going to besiege Granada. Now sieges will take some time depending on the fortifications and how good you are at sieging. Later on in the game we'll get artillery to help bring those walls down. But for now in 1444, or we're in 48 Europe right now, our options are a little more limited. Again, events popping up, you have to make the decision when you see them, but we're just going to fire through them at the moment. I'm actually going to make it so that the game actually does not pause when events come up there anymore. So one issue we have now is that the Tunisians have brought their fleet here, and their fleet is actually blockading us, which is going to stop us from basically sailing over and kicking them in for how dare they help their ally in their time of need.
Those bastards.
Thankfully, our ships are being built. I don't think we'll be quite so comfortable with the ships we have here. We have 18 and they have 20, but we have better ships, I would say. Still, I want to have some backup before we engage them. And at the moment, Granada will get sieged down, and then later on we'll be able to bring them to peace. Now, we don't just go in and grab territory and there we go, it's all over. There is diplomacy. You have to sue for peace at the end of it all. And so what we're going to do is we are building up war score here, so that when we go to the peace table, we can say we have 70% war score and we demand these territories. Yeah. So war score comes into a big part.
So how do you gain war score then?
Very pertinent question.
Yes.
Glad you should ask that. It can be difficult to. You can gloss over these things quite a bit when you play the game so often. So I'm very glad you're here to keep us on track there. So at the moment we have 4% war score. And some of that comes from battles. Directly slaughtering your enemy in battle will give you war score. Occupying provinces will give you even more. If those provinces are fortified, then it's worth a lot more. Same with the capitals. And in addition to that, I went to this war saying that I will conquer Granada. And if I do manage to occupy the province, it's going to give me ticking war score, which is going to gradually tick up to a value of 25.
So basically, the longer you hold something, the more successful the game thinks you are at.
Yes, that's right. And the enemy will get weary, and they'll be like, you know, it's getting harder to fight back, and they have lots of war score. And you'll be able to go to the peace table and say, gimme.
Kaylin 4 wants you to explain how attrition works.
That's a good point. So our armies here aren't taking attrition, the ones in provinces we've already occupied.
Yeah.
But the 18,000 men that we have sent to Granada are taking attrition. This is very important when you're going through rugged mountainous provinces or when you bring lots of troops into one area, especially when you have low technology. If I check here, the siege is giving us 1% attrition. And how that works is there's going to be people that want to run away or die of disease and such, and that's going to eat into our manpower. We need fresh bodies to replace those that die or run away, and that gets taken directly from our manpower pool right here, which gets boosted up from all the provinces that we have. You want to be very careful not to run out of manpower if it ends up getting a touch low. You can even recruit some mercenaries. They're super expensive, but they fight pretty well, and they will not eat into your manpower. You do, however, have a limited number of mercenaries that you can draw from. So yeah, attrition will become a big thing if you end up, say, invading Russia in winter.
Yeah.
Not a great idea unless you're a Mongol. So things like winter or tropical areas, they can all impact on the attrition that you take. It's just another thing to keep an eye on when you are planning out your wars logistically. But we're not really having any trouble with Granada here. They're going to fall. And once a province is under occupation, the enemy's not going to raise any troops there. They'll have to retake it if they want to use it in the future.
Now, there are some text and numbers popping up above Granada, like walls breached before and now just food shortage. Is that for us?
That's a great point, because we've almost finished this siege. It's a great opportunity to open it up. So here is the siege. They have a fort there. We can even physically see it on the map, but we can also see it if we were to click on the province. Here they go. They've got a castle, and they also have an extra capital fort, because this is their capital province. And we have to siege it down. As you can see, the siege is going pretty well for us. It's all burning, smoke pouring out. And every time you get a siege tick, and a tick will take about a month, depending on some modifiers, the game will roll a dice and add up some bonuses that you have, and then it'll apply an effect. And the effect might be that you breach the wall, or that you starve some of the inhabitants, or some of the inhabitants desert, and that will give you a siege progress. Now, we currently have a siege progress of 12, and when you get enough of a value from your roll, your progress, and all your modifiers, if it hits that magic number of 20 or more, you'll get a surrender, and the province will be yours.
So basically, if I'm reading this correctly, we're currently getting -5, but +1. So we're rolling at a -4, and it's a 6-sided die.
I think the die is 13 or 14-sided.
Okay.
And then it adds the progress to that, of which we
Yeah.
have 12. We get a -2 because we're not blockading them. The idea
Yeah.
is that they're getting supplies in through here, which makes them less likely to surrender. And the fort level itself will give us that. But we've also breached the walls. So when all that is calculated, each siege tick, there's a chance it'll happen. So there's a water shortage there, which reduced the garrison slightly and would have increased our siege status. But it's gone as high as it can go unless we get some blockades on the go. So we're going to take a risk at the naval part here. It might not actually go our way, because the enemy has a lot of ships, but we're going to try our luck at it anyway. We're going to hire ourselves an admiral. It costs diplomatic points, but why not? Ramon de Velasco. Seems like a trustworthy chap. We'll give him charge of our navy and charge on in. And then we're going to have a naval battle with the enemy. And as we can see straight away, it's really not going our way. They brought in all their Grenadans and their Tunisians, and they're going to defeat our fleet. So this is why it's important to keep a track of your enemy's allies. Tunis have great dominance here in the Mediterranean, so we're going to run away with our tails between our legs. They actually managed to sink one of our boats, but that happens. You have to be ready for when the enemy can bite back harder than expected. But we're building up an extra ship for that, and as luck would have it, Granada has now fallen.
Hooray!
So we're not taking that attrition from the siege anymore, and everything is going okay. An invasion of us into Tunis looks somewhat unlikely because we don't have the naval supremacy we need to sail ourselves over.
Yeah. But in this case, if we were to have something like that, the reason we would invade Tunis would then be to get more war score.
That's right.
Because we don't have a casus belli on any of their regions, so we wouldn't get their regions anyway.
We actually could.
Okay.
If we were to land over here and start occupying land, we could demand it from them. It would be more expensive in terms of war score and such, but we certainly could. After all, you can claim you're going to war for whatever reason, but maybe
Okay,
you'll be taking
yeah.
a bit more than that.
So it's the war is just the casus belli is basically just to start the war. It's
Yes,
the
it'll also
ignition.
give you some discounts. For example, I have claims on these provinces, and because it's a claim on a province casus belli, we'll get them for cheaper. So, for example, we're going to open the Sue for Peace screen, and we would be able to take Gibraltar and Maria, probably butchering these names, but if we were to demand Granada, a little red cross coming up here saying,
Yeah.
no, we're not going to give them that up. They'll come to understand in time, because we're getting ticking war score from sitting on that province, and there isn't much they can do about it. We've got a bit more of a navy on the go, so we're going to bring them over to Sevilla. Maybe we'll be able to take them out on the high seas.
Let's see. We had some. I'm looking for the name. Someone wanted you to explain force limits.
Okay, so the amount of people you can have in your army is not just dependent on the amount of money and manpower that you have, although those are extremely important towards it, but there is a value known as your force limit. You can check it out over here on your military tab. It gives you a lot of numbers, lists all your military leaders, but right here you have your force limit. And depending on the size and power of your nation and any bonuses you have, you'll be able to field an army of, for us, for example, up to 29 regiments. Each regiment is 1,000 manpower, so we are currently at 27 out of 29, so we could build another 2 without any penalties. But if we were to start going over that, I think I could show it right here, so if I were to build a couple more, if I wanted to build more than that, they would start getting more expensive in terms of upkeep, because once you have a soldier here, he's going to cost, this individual regiment is 0.21 ducats a month just to maintain. If I started going over the force limit, every one of them would become more expensive.
Okay, so it's not just the regiments that are above the force limits.
It's the whole lot.
Oh,
so
I see.
it's a soft cap on how large your army can be. You can go over it, but you're going to have to be able to afford it.
So how would you go about raising your force limits then? Is it a question of military tech, or is it a question of size of your?
You would want to increase the size of your realm, and you would also want to make the provinces you have better, so that they provide you with more. So if we check out over here again, the land force limit, we get 1 from having a vassal. The vassal has to contribute a little bit to it as well.
Yeah.
And you get 6 as a base, just for being an independent nation. Nobles demanding things. Better do as they say, they might get a bit angry. And then, yes, from the 22 provinces we have, we get a certain amount of them. And we can check that out province per province. Madrid is a fairly nice province. Development levels are right here, so it's 6 in tax, 6 in production, 5 in manpower. So yeah, tax is raw income. Production will be making us more of these. They produce cloth in Madrid. And the manpower is just straight up manpower that's going to go towards the amount of warm bodies we can press into our army. These combined will make this value down here, which is force limit. So this one province is contributing 1.7 of the force limit towards our country, because it's quite a nice province.
Yeah.
If we were to check out somewhere that's a bit further away and not so significant, like the Canary Islands, often forgot about, they only give 0.7 force limit because it's not such a developed province. It's still quite nice, we can get some sugar there. But the Europeans don't really know what to do with sugar. I mean, we don't have coffee plants from the Arabs, we don't have hot chocolate from South America. Well, what are we meant to drink?
No. That's,
What are you drinking?
I was drinking tea, but it's all gone now.
Oh dear.
And more importantly, no sugar in it, because that would just be silly. Who puts sugar in things? I mean, once we get the cKnoor trade up and going and increasing our sugar output, everyone.
I actually wonder if we have any tea available to us. We even have a map mode for this, the trade goods. There are loads of different ones here, but I'm just trying to see if we have any tea available to us. I don't think so. We have coffee. Grab some coffee over here. Not a fan?
No.
Not a fan? No, me neither. Yeah, all the provinces produce different goods. So if
all of these provinces are horrible. We should get to India pronto.
we're gonna have to work on that then. All right, Granada will fall to us in due time. How about having another stab at their navy? Come on, fight us. Not going so hot there, but I think we should bring in some friends. So I'm bringing in all my fleet here to help out, but it's not going so hot. There we go. We'll just retire from there, but we are chipping away at their navy. We'll get them someday. So having a good strong navy would be key in taking out these North Africans, but the Tunisian navy has us on the back foot. So it's also good to know not to overexert yourself. We want to take out the Grenadans, and as the war drags on, they'll become less and less keen on keeping the war going, and we'll be able to absorb Granada into our realm. All the while, though, we should be keeping an eye on people around us. So we have Aragon and France. And it's quite interesting because whilst we're doing all this, the rest of Europe is ablaze in their own warfare. Scotland, I don't recall you owning Northern Ireland.
No.
But what they've done is Scotland has gone and claimed and taken Ulster from themselves. So the yellow of Scotland is dripping down there, and there we go. They might even revolt against the Scots. But we shall see. Maybe Scotland can keep a hold of them. Scotland also has to worry about the English that are definitely going to want to subjugate them in time.
So when you see a region that has the stripes, that essentially means that there's someone...
there is occupation going on there. So here we have the white color is Granada, and it's being striped with Castilian yellow because we are occupying them. Same here, Gascony right here. It's red because it's owned by England, but it's striped with purple because Brittany, the Bretons of all people, are actually coming down to occupy that. That's quite interesting. Are there any other major occupations going on? No, but you'll see that some of the maps have changed. Like Muscovy, the people that will form Russia in due time, they've taken a big chomp out of their rival Novgorod. Poland have been putting the Teutonic Order to sword. And Danzig exists. I'm sure people won't be coming to blows over that in 500 years. So yes, we change and the world changes with us. There's going to be lots of territorial advancements going on, and we have to keep up with the times.
Is this a good place to take a quick break then? We are going to continue the stream, but for the sake of YouTube, let's have a quick one